All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and what we are going to do today is first we are going to start off with a state of the course update, and after that state of the course update, what we are going to do is discuss two sources that you will point students to in the future when they are asking for help with persuasive essays and other types of persuasion papers. The two databases that are best for that type of work, especially when you're first starting out. Now, there'll be more things in your toolbox as you get more experience. But I'm assuming that a lot of you, if not most of you, if not all of you, are just kind of starting out and are on the rookie phase as far as, learning these types of resources. So I am glad to help. Now, I do know a lot of you have a lot of paraprofessional experience already and have probably done a lot of reference work already. And so you probably have a bit more in your toolbox already than some of your classmates do. So please just remember that even if you are very knowledgeable, there are people who do not work in libraries in this class and never have, and they are not as knowledgeable as you are. And I was actually in that second boat when I first started library school. I have been a newspaper reporter. A lot of people come into library school with years of paraprofessional library experience, and then a lot of people come into library school like me with absolutely zero library experience of any kind except being a library user. So having said that, let's go ahead and dive into our state of the course update. After we do our state of the course update, we will then get into teaching you about just a little bit about opposing viewpoints and the CQ researcher. And these, again, are very good when you have people who need to write persuasive essays on hot button issues. We'll get into that in just a bit, but let's do that state of the course update first. And the most important thing that I need to tell you all is, we have to go into assignments to kind of learn that, is your next big assignment is going to be your LibGuide assignment. And there it is, the LibGuide assignment. So I am going to probably next week actually have like a huge video that I've been reusing for a few semesters now to just kind of ease you into and kind of soothe your nerves when it comes to the LibGuide assignment. I could have done that this week, but I'm dealing with, I actually got a call from my sister this morning, found out that one of my favorite uncles died. I won't be able to go to his funeral. I'll be back in North Carolina. I just can't afford to go. So my mind isn't right to do the whole LibGuide thing. And then also you probably also want a break. You just did your Wikipedia edit assignment. So you probably want a break before looking at a check-in video that discusses the next assignment. But we'll get the LibGuide check-in video up next week, and in addition to the LibGuide check-in video, there will be a second video that I upload that I recorded a few semesters back as a check-in video, but then my class that semester did really, really good on LibGuide, and I was like, I think what happened was that particular video was kind of easing their nerves because it was giving them a little better example of what I am and am not looking for. So we will go through this prompt and through this rubric next week in a check-in video, but we're not going to do that this week. But just know that this is what's on the horizon. And one thing that makes me very, very pleased is that some of you are already aware that this is what's on the horizon, because I did get some emails I got like 3 emails over the past 2 or 3 days from members of this class who were saying, hey, Dr. Jace, I was wondering if we could go ahead and get our LibGuide logins. That shows me that you all are planning ahead, and I like that. So yes, I will reward that diligence by giving the LibGuide logins at some point this week, probably toward the end of the week, maybe Friday night, but you will be getting them soon. Okay, so LibGuide logins, if you don't get those by Monday, then please reach out to me, because it could mean that there was an issue with making your login, but I do plan to do them before next Monday. All right, so the LibGuide is the big guy coming up, but also your I do want you to also be aware, and this was in an announcement last week, but your semester-long project is now up. So as you can see, when we go into this, you have the fall 2023 the fall 2023 semester long project. It'll be due on December the 11th. If you do 7 questions per week, you will finish in time. Okay. Even 6 questions per week, between 6 and 7 questions per week, but lean towards 7. That will get you done in time. Remember, it is 40 questions total, and you have to do them between now and December 11th. Now, I have had students who just dedicated their week off on Thanksgiving, week off, or spring break, just dedicated their week off to doing it. If you want to do it, that's fine. If you want to do it that way. But however you do it, the main thing is pace yourself and remember to have it done on December 11th. I cannot extend that assignment because it takes a long time to grade, and I've got to get those grades in before the deadline. Okay, so just know that. We will again have a sync session in November, but that's not coming up anytime soon, like within the next week or two. That is actually not coming up until where is it? Hold on. Sorry, I wouldn't be able to see my head or know where my head was if it weren't attached to my neck. It is right there, November 7th. So it is actually a little earlier than I thought. It's in 3 weeks from now. We will have our final sync session. And then also, please be aware that discussion board prompt number 6 is going to be due on November 17th. So you do have exactly a week from when I'm recording this, because I'm recording it on October 17th. You do have exactly, not a week, a month. I don't know why I'm just tripping all over my words. You do have exactly a month before November 17th when discussion 6 is due, and then discussion 7 will be due on December the 7th. So that is the information you need as far as state of the course updates. And everything else, the things related to the LibGuide, we will talk about that next week. So let's go ahead and get into CQ Researcher and opposing viewpoints. Actually, I'm going to do opposing viewpoints first. And I am going to have to log into a public library in order to get opposing viewpoints because I don't think Mizzou has it. But give me a moment and I will go ahead and do that. Be back. All right, so let's do a little intro of what opposing viewpoints can do. So I am using Mid-Continent Public Library in order to access opposing viewpoints here. And when I get in, okay, it's being slow, let me pause. Okay, so that took absurdly long, but here we are. So this is the landing page for opposing viewpoints, and then what you want to do once you are actually in opposing viewpoints is there are several ways that you can go about things with opposing viewpoints. Let me say it like this. A lot of times people do like to just use the search feature in databases, and the search feature in databases is very, very good. Because a lot of times when you enter a database, you're met with either the search feature or the browse feature, and you got to figure out what you're going to do. But a lot of times the search feature will get you to the information you need faster. However, I will say with opposing viewpoints in particular, I do like to start out with browsing the issues, because basically what you're going to have a lot of times with opposing viewpoints is when you have a situation that calls for you to use this database, a lot of times what's going on is the patron already has a hot button issue that they are trying to deal with. And so they don't necessarily need to use the search feature. They just need that overview for that hot button issue. So let's go ahead and find a hot button issue. We are going to stay away today from abortion and the death penalty. And I'm sure you all have heard throughout your lives when you've had to do persuasive essays, but yeah, let's not do abortion or the death penalty because blah, blah, blah. And I happen to agree. But all of your hot button issues really are here. In fact, you've got several things for abortion. You got abortion, but then you've also got late term abortion and parental consent. And then if you are looking at capital punishment or the death penalty, you've got that going on here as well. So you do have those heavy hitters that a lot of places even tell you to stay away from, but you've got a lot of other things as well. So you do have plagiarism, police brutality, police reform, patriotism, paranormal phenomena, and I don't even think that was one of the options last time I looked, or maybe it was because it does say updated. But you got drunk driving, you got drugs and athletes, you got probably marijuana legalization is always a big one. Yeah, marijuana. several things with LGBT. Coal is a very pressing hot button issue that gets under discussed. In fact, let's do that one as our example. So let's go to coal. Let's say you have somebody who was doing a persuasive paper on coal. So what you can do when you find the issue you want, you can actually click it, go to that landing page, and then you are brought here. And within the landing page for a particular issue, what's good is that on the page you get, first of all, a little overview page, and even the overview page can be cited. So you get this little overview and you get pros and cons, you get background, you get a lot of neat, succinct information in your overview page. And again, even the overview page a lot of times can be used as a source for K-12 students, for undergrad students who may be doing persuasive essays and that sort of thing. Don't rely on the citations. I've talked about that before. They are only accurate about 80% of the time, but you do have your standard options here for emailing, download, printing, so forth and so on. And yes, so this is a good way to start. Oh, and you've got your related subjects and all of that. So that is very useful, but then let's go back out to the topic landing page. And what you can see, again, you see this breakdown. And what this is actually a source breakdown, and that comes in handy. This is very, very, very helpful. So when you have that source breakdown, what you can do is you can come back here, and let's say that the student had a prong in their assignment to where they had to use at least one magazine source, at least one newspaper source, and at least one academic journal. Well, you've got your breakdowns, and so you know how many of each of these types of sources you would have. So you've got 16,000 things classified as news, 600 things classified as magazines, about 250 things as academic journals, and then you have some other things going on, including statistics that can be very helpful, websites you can go to, and audio, and those sorts of things. So if you want to learn more and really mess with this database, again, what you need to do is explore for yourself, because this is really just meant to be an intro. However, I do think that even giving you this intro, just showing you everything that's at your fingertips here, gives you a lot of information for, it gives you a lot of information for the particular hot button issue that you were dealing with. And again, it breaks it down by source type. So for one thing, if you are dealing with, like, let's say you're doing this for an elementary school, a lot of times elementary school students probably wouldn't even mess with the whole academic journals thing, because academic journals are going to be too in over their heads. However, let's say that you were dealing with a college student and they're like, yeah, I've got to have at least a few things for academic journals. What you can do is click the academic journals either here, or you could have gone to the bottom of the page on the last page you were in, and you are brought to this, which will tell you the various 242 academic journals. And these things, by the way, can get very, very old. So like if you limited this by newest, you will see that yes, it is starting out with things that were printed here in July 2023. But I'm sure if we actually went to the last page, I don't know if page 5 is the last page, but if we go to our very last page, which looks like 7, things should be pretty old once we get to the last page. Oh, well, we're still on. Okay, I'm not going all the way back because that's just a waste of time, but you can see it's getting older. 2016, which is verging on, I can't believe I'm saying this, but 2016 is verging on being almost 10 years ago, and certainly 2011 was over 10 years ago, and so forth and so on. So there you go. I am actually going to, this is probably the easiest way to get back. So if I were going just back to that first page and then wanted things sorted by relevance, I do actually have a 2023 thing that as my first result for relevance here. And then also, it's very important, a lot of times students are told they need to use academic journals that are peer-reviewed, but we can also check this, and hopefully this will get things that are not peer-reviewed out of our results. Well, it kept it at 242, so I think that everything that's here is peer-reviewed, and everything here has this little peer-review check. But yes, you will see, even before you click the record, you will see that you've got the date, you've got what type of thing you're dealing with. In this case, they're calling it a report. I don't know that I agree with calling it a report, but that's what they're doing. You've got a word count. You know what journal it's from. volume and issue information. You've got a Lexile number. Lexiles, for those of you who don't know, are basically dealing with reading level and how appropriate a reading material may be for different age groups to read, okay? And I actually don't, oh, okay, well, if you highlight it, it'll tell you content level 5. I honestly don't know what that means, and I'm not going to look it up now because I am kind of pressed for time. You all are librarians. If you want to know what that means, go ahead and look it up for yourself. You do also have a, your document online identifier number there. You've got an abstract. But the good thing also is with opposing viewpoints in context, for the most part, you actually will have your full text right there in the database, and you won't have to go fishing for the full text, okay? That's not always going to be the case, but it is going to be the case more often than not. And so you got that full text there if you need it and so forth, and it can be used for those reasons. Okay, so this is a little bit of an overview for opposing viewpoints. Again, I will go back to here. I will go back here and just show you that, again, you do, again, have those different options, academic journals right there, but you have other websites that will take you out of the database. You will have various news items, magazine items, and so forth and so on. And stats are particularly cool because stats can boister an argument. So we do have our statistics right here. This database really does have statistics that vary very widely in whether or not they are relevant. But I would just point out that they are there, and whether or not you can make use of them, it just depends on what you are trying to do. But they are there, and they are there for a lot of issues. Now, let's say that I went back out here. And let's say that instead of, by the way, yes, explore this a little more on your own. You can ask your local public library if they have opposing viewpoints in context, and if so, they will tell you how to access it. And then also, even if Mizzou does not have it, if you work for an academic library, there are a lot of academic libraries that do have opposing viewpoints. Mizzou just isn't one of them. All right, now let's say that instead of doing that browse, what you just wanted to do was search because you were searching for something that you think might not have one of those, one of these selections within the browse issues. So you have to search, and let's search for, let's search for fentanyl. First, let me make sure fentanyl isn't there. Okay, so I'm just showing you, yes, fentanyl isn't showing up here, but that doesn't mean that they don't have any information on it. Let me, I'm going to verify how to spell fentanyl, and then I'm going to do a search. Okay, so again, I'm coming back. I'm actually going to go back to my homepage, and I'm just going to paste fentanyl here, fentanyl trafficking. So you have things that come up, but it didn't have its own browse issue. So let's say that you have fentanyl trafficking. Let's say you wanted to search for that. Not a whole lot going on, as you can see. Magazines, just 1. Academic journals, just 2. And then, of course, news you're going to have a lot of. Let's take the trafficking part out and then just do fentanyl. Okay, so this looks a little better. You have 104 magazine things, 112 academic journals. Viewpoint essays, which viewpoint essays are, they can also be used. You can actually, one thing I recommend you do is tell patrons that these viewpoint essays, what you can do is a lot of times, even if you're not going to cite them, they will still have viewpoint arguments that can bolster your own arguments. So you can kind of incorporate, or you can look at a viewpoint essay to determine, okay, what are going to be some counter arguments to what I'm trying to argue, and then you can go ahead and prepare for those counter arguments. That's how that works. But yes, the viewpoint essays that you can access, those are also often very, very helpful. And also they're usually very brief. They're usually under 2,000 words. Okay. So that's something that can be helpful there. And that's pretty much just how this works. So if you do this search, then if you said, okay, I wanted to get my magazines that are dealing with fentanyl, or at least mention fentanyl, then you can click that magazines label and then scroll down and find what you are looking for. And this is a content level 4. Very short article, less than 1,500 words, but this will give you some information on fentanyl there. So that is how all of that works. And now what we are going to do is take a look at the CQ Researcher. And this is also very, very useful for students who are doing like viewpoint essays or persuasive essays. Give me one more. All right, so the good thing about CQ Researcher is that this one is available through Mizzou. So if you go to library.mizzou.edu and then select databases and then select C, if you scroll down, you will see CQ Researcher here. Go ahead and get me in there, buddy. All right, let me pause while this loads. All right, so this is the CQ Researcher, and again, you have this option to where, first of all, you have topics that are broken up into these kind of bigger overarching concepts here. Let's go to hot topics, and I am staying away from abortion rights. I am not going there. Let's do something. I want to do the thing that marijuana legalization. Let's go for that. I want to do something that's not going to have anybody in their fields because I'm just not really trying to get y'all worked up right now. So, okay, marijuana legalization, hot topics. So, first things first, one of the good things about this particular database is that you get, so you can get this kind of overview and you get this overview essay, but then when you get this overview essay, you can kind of, okay, and I think there has been some redesign of this database since the last time I was in here, because things are looking a little different. But what you can do, so you've got, the biggest thing with this is it can help you really populate a works cited page really fast, because it does a great job, better so than most databases, on footnotes, or if you want to refer to them as endnotes. I would call these endnotes, but if you want to call them footnotes, that's fine too. Okay, so, but what you can do is, like, if you see something and you're like, okay, I need that information that's been cited is a source that I really need. What you can do is just click that footnote, you'll be brought here, and you can actually click on these links most of the time and get right out into the original document, and then cite that document as well. And so you can really, really build up works cited very quickly here. And then you get this option for next. Chronology. Get here, you'll see a little kind of timeline going on, and then you will see other things that you can read on this topic. So we've got some essays from various people here that can be the next things that you read, and again, this is kind of a redesign. And so there you go. Actually, I'm going to do one thing here because, again, this is different from how I remember it, and they've done a redesign since I've last been in here. Okay, so yeah, now I've figured out a few things, and I really, really don't like this redesign. This site used to be a lot easier to use and a lot more user-friendly, this database, I should say, but now I think I'm seeing where some things are coming from. I don't like this. Okay, so I actually am going to go into, I'm going to do exactly what I just said 5 minutes ago I wasn't going to do, and I'm going to just go into one of those hot button issues so that you can actually see the various types of things that can get offered with something that is more fully kind of fleshed out. So let's see about, hold on. Let me pause again. Okay, so you all are going to be watching Dr. J's kind of try to figure this database out on the fly now that they have made what I would say is a very ill-advised redesign. It was just fine the way it is. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But anyway, let's go ahead, and what I want are reports, okay? So I am going to click this reports here and get this, and I think this is how I need to do this now. But it used to be that it just kind of defaulted into reports, and you had a very, very easy to use table of contents that you didn't have to look for. You see all these table of contents. It didn't really prompt you to do all this crap at first. So let's say you have social media and youth well-being. Yeah, that should be a good one. Go to full table of contents. When you go to the full table of contents, it used to be, I hope it's the same way now, but it used to be that when you go to the full table of contents, what it would do is it would take you just to kind of a landing page, and then you would have tabs that would take you to the things that you see right here. Introduction, current situation, pro and con, but it was organized a lot better than what I'm seeing now. Now these reports are not organized that great, at least not in my opinion. But yeah, so this is an actual report, and this is what I was trying to get to. The report doesn't look as good or as smooth as it did before this redesign. Again, I'm probably just going to bitch about this redesign now. But yeah, so you get the introduction, and that introduction includes an overview, and then you scroll and you scroll and you scroll, and you get that chronology and things like that. But then what you can do a lot of times, what I would do was when I would access a report, I would get whoever I was working with into the pro con area so that they could access different materials that are supportive of and against a position. And then when you do that, so we've got like, okay, so here we've got one kind of essay going on that's pro, and then they'll probably have one that's con. But is that the same guy? No, thank goodness. Okay. So you have that, but I mean, this just isn't as good as it was. But yeah, you get the outlook as well, so you can flip between current situation, pro con, outlook. I don't like this redesign at all, y'all. So, but yeah, this is another place that you can come to get information in support of or in opposition to any particular hot button issue and any stance on any particular hot button issue. So that's how this works. I'm going to now have to do my own spend a little time in this database so that I can get a little bit more acquainted with it and see where the features that used to be right there, where you have to go search for them now. But I will do that. And that's probably going to help my next semester's class, but it's not going to really help you all that much. But you have at least been introduced to CQ Researcher. Again, it is available through Mizzou and probably also through your public library. Even though Opposing Viewpoints is not available through Mizzou, that is also probably available through your local public library. So use those resources to try to learn a bit more and kind of explore and get some practice with these databases. And again, these databases are very, very useful when you have K-12 students and also college undergrads who are trying to write persuasive essays, but they can also be very useful for other types of speech writers. If somebody just comes in the library saying, hey, I got to write a speech tonight or write a speech to deliver tonight or something, and I need to know this and this about supporting why we need coal or something like that, then you can use these two databases in order to get them the information they need. So with that said, I hope to sped this up. We are going to keep it under 30 minutes. I am Dr. Jace, and I would say that I am Dr. Jace, and I don't want any good methods for exploring a useful database to ever face being erased. And I feel that that was the case with what's happened with this CQ Researcher adaptation. Anyway, toodles, I will see you next week, probably with the LibGuide stuff. See you next week.